The following show features episodic breakdowns of Jackass, either performed by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. For your safety, avoid listening to this podcast at all times. Hi, I'm Mikey Aaronworth.
I'm Jason Wellwood.
And I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Welcome to Jackass.
Welcome to Jackast. It's the podcast where we're on a path of destruction through every single episode of Jackass.
We are three lifelong fans of the show, reliving the belly laughs, bad ideas, and broken bones.
We're back with the season finale of season 2. So,
Hey, you got it right this time, buddy.
no, but you got it in so much in my head. I was just about to crack.
What?
So thanks for the save there, Jay.
Yeah,
Because last time apparently I forgot to say what season it was. I said episode 7, like as if people don't know.
Yeah, no, that's not important information at all.
Well, today we're
Mikey's
doing season
real,
2, episode 8.
There you go.
Okay.
And this episode came out on June
Well, that's
13th
cool.
of the year 2004.
Mm.
And you know, you guys, like, you always give me shit about the facts and this and that. Like, you don't understand how well I actually play these facts out, because this is very relevant to when this episode will be coming out in the next couple of
Yeah,
days.
and it's a hard job, too. You've got a hard job. I mean, we're not downplaying
Thanks, Jay.
that at all.
Thank
It's
you. I
fucking-
appreciate it. You know, I'm even thinking so far ahead, I'm wearing my Canada jersey, knowing that the first match of the World Cup plays on the day that this is related, so it's going to come out. It's like I'm watching this live, and I do have a soccer fact today.
Okay.
Yeah, just in theme of the whole World Cup, because I know everybody, especially all of our American listeners, love soccer so much. You know, I really want to get into that type of situation, but it was actually a pretty infamous game, England versus France. England was up. Zidane scored 2 like world-class goals, like right towards the end of the game to beat England. That was also the game where David Beckham missed a major penalty kick and basically got hate from England fans for like 5 years from it, and basically caused him to kind of leave.
And was that the same when Zidane did the headbutt as well? Is that
No,
what
that's
you're
the World
skipping
Cup
over?
final against Italy.
Oh, that was the World Cup final.
Yeah,
Okay.
He did more
That
than
was-
just
that
a
was a
headbutt.
pretty
He's a
big deal,
pretty good player. A little arrogant on your part, Mikey, but whatever. I don't only judge you on all your fucking worst moves.
No, Chris, that's exactly what you do on this. What are you talking about? That's 99% of what you bring up is when I fuck up.
Yeah.
That's
It's yeah, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Is there any footage circulating of David Beckham getting like just ripped in the nuts, just a straight shot, like one of those kicks where they like miss the ball, you know?
No,
Turns
but I'm
into a
pretty
red
sure there's
card
one
situation.
where someone actually like tugs. It's either Beckham or somebody else, but there's one where someone tugs the guy's like shorts and his full fucking dong comes out.
Oh, I've
and
seen
flops.
that.
I've seen that.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. It was
some of
fucking
my
impressive
favorite
dong
things.
too.
Some of
Oh,
my
yeah, it's
favorite
pretty
things in the history of the world are unexpected dong reveals. Like Lenny Kravitz's is
You
my
should check out
favorite
this
video
porn site
on
I've been
the
watching
planet.
if you like that type of stuff.
Oh yeah, what's it called, Chris?
Dongreveals.com.
Dongreveals.com.
Oh, you just
No,
think
or
everything's
is it-
fine and boom, there it comes out of nowhere.
Or,
And then
indeed,
you come.
maybe it's called dingdong.com, something like that.
Yeah,
But-
ding dong ditch.
People,
Ding-dong
guys, I'm not saying I have a problem with David Beckham or anything. I know he's a fine soccer gentleman, and it's just that he's so fucking successful. I just kind of like need to see that footage to feel better about my own situation.
Just
Nothing
watch his
against the
penalty
guy.
kick, and you'll
Yeah.
understand the pain, and it just took him down a huge notch.
That'll do. Yeah, that'll get me going. Season 2, episode 8, Viva La Bam is just about over. Oh my God. It feels like a long time coming, but this is, I would say, a pretty promising episode by the title alone, the Demo Derby. And as any episode of Viva La Bam goes, we've always got the disclaimer up front. Now, the girl they got to read the disclaimer this time, I mean, she's really taking this shit seriously. I mean,
Isn't
like,
it Glorin? Isn't this Glorin?
I don't know. Is
I'm
it?
pretty sure it's Glorin from
Your favorite movie?
Haggard. Yeah, I can't believe I almost forgot the name of
Okay.
my favorite movie.
It's quite possible it is. I didn't recognize her, but I mean, just, I don't know why. It just had this vibe to it of at some point a fucking shopping cart was going to come out, screen right, and just knock her over. But I was disappointed to see that did not happen.
You know what's crazy about these? I've noticed this in a lot of these intros, because in season 2 we get the introduction of like the guest warning, like the guest who comes on who's kind of relevant to the episode, and they read the warning for the episode we're about to see. Has anybody told these people that this is digital film? I'm assuming they could do another take if they want, because like they're awful at this, and this has to be their first take, because I can't imagine this is like the second or third take. They're making mistakes, they're fumbling over their lines. If this is them on like their 4th or 5th attempt, and they're like, you know what, that's the best we're gonna do, right. Sometimes it's fucking terrible.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, Yeah, you're right. It is digital. It's not like this is, a film reel or anything. Unless I just don't really feel like recharging the batteries.
Wouldn't you put it past Bam just to be like, you have one fucking shot, you better not fuck up, and we're putting this on no matter what. So it like adds that extra pressure and that weird kind of like, I like the fact it's not perfect. I like the fact that you could tell that they're just like nervous about it, like they're not doing the best job. It's not supposed to be cookie cutter. This is fucking Viva La Bam. This is anarchy.
That's
the fucking
thing.
90s, the 2000s.
They need to ham it up more. I feel like these disclaimers were like, this is like prime opportunity to just have like a gag thrown in there. Like I said, if you had a shopping cart come out and like hit whoever's speaking, or like you have like just some crazy shit happening in the background while someone's seriously reading, like, three guys showing their asses or something. I don't know. Just like do something with it. But it's like anytime we have one of these, I almost wonder like, the only reason they're fucking doing this is because MTV told them to. Sure. And I don't know why we're spending so much time here talking about it, to be honest with you.
I get you. Well, it's about time. It's a full season of them. How do we feel looking back? And I agree. I think they should have done a little bit more. Like we talked about a few weeks ago on this podcast randomly, how they have like on airplanes, they used to have the in case of emergency pamphlets, and they would put like little cartoons in them. So you would want to engage with them to see where the weird little cartoons and stuff were in. Like they could have done something similar with this, where it's basically just like, keep on watching the warning. We know you don't want to, but for eating your vegetables, you get a little dessert at the end of it.
You know what bugs me, and it pisses me off because it's like a tease. When you go on a fucking plane these days, there are brand new planes that have been made in the last 5-10 years, whatever the case may be, and a lot of them all still have ashtrays.
Yeah,
like built in, and there's like a no smoking sign above the ashtray. Like, what? Why are you putting like? Is there any planes where you can still commercial planes you can still smoke in them? Like, it makes me want to just do it and be like, what? Fuck you.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's tempting. It feels tempting. Like we should be doing it. If they're gonna put them in there, we should use them. And I don't even smoke.
If it said your little like that little pamphlet area in the front where they got the sick bag and stuff, they had a crack pipe. Like, I'm probably gonna smoke crack. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't just put those things in front of the people.
That's true. And you are a man of the people.
I'm a man of the people.
Yeah.
I almost forgot. Yeah. But you know what, guys? Speaking of stretching out the intro, I think it's only fitting that we're about to stretch the pieces of this Vito's new car. Yeah, he's got another car, and they're going to go and fuck this one up too, across the field at Bam's house. They're basically just going to take it apart piece by piece here. So
the best part about this, I was just thinking about this. Like, Jay, you had that fucking perfect segue. It was a really good segue. Because you know how much me and Mikey always just blab and blab at the beginning of the episode. So like you were prepared for that with that segue. Imagine this was the one time we just went straight into it and you're like, wow, fuck, I can't even use this perfect segue.
Just really trying to fuck you over at every turn. Yeah.
To be fair here, guys, like when they said we're gonna take Vito's car apart again, I was kind of like, again, like, I've seen this enough this season. I kind of was almost not into it until it actually started happening, because I really like the added touch here. It's like, attack this thing with whatever weapon you can find. This really had some like WWF No Mercy on the N64 vibes. You're just pulling in all weapons of mass destruction from the crowd. You got sledgehammers, you got beer kegs, torches, fire extinguishers, you name it. It's pretty much there.
They should have dressed up as Ken and Ryu though. That would have been fucking awesome. They just go to town beating the shit out of a car. I would have loved that.
Oh, that would have been beautiful. Yeah.
That's such a good call. And who's better, Ken or Ryu?
Oh, Ryu, 100%.
Ken. I'm a Ken guy.
What, are you an idiot?
Are you dumb?
Actually, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard on that one.
How is it stupid? I don't understand how it's even an argument.
Same control scheme.
It's the exact. Okay, they got the same moves. Everything's the same about them, except there's main differences. When Ken does his flying uppercut thing, they turn on fire. When he does his fucking throw, he does an extra flip. So how is he not better? His move has fire and the other one's doesn't. It literally makes no sense.
Because Ryu's the guy. Ryu is the fucking guy.
So how come he doesn't have a fucking fire uppercut and a Satsudugan?
Here's how much of a shithead Ken is. In the new Street Fighter, they've shown like clips of it. He's like a fucking homeless dude. They made him like a homeless dude.
Yeah, I just watched like the Drunken Boxer I think the Drunken Boxer with Jackie Chan. And he kind of just dressed himself like a homeless dude because it's all part of the martial arts. Yeah. Ken is so committed to the martial art. He's that much better. What does Ryu do? He just acts cool and acts pretentious the whole time. Ken's fucking from America. He says, fuck yeah. And he's going out there and he's showing them how to do it.
How is Ken pretentious? Or how is Ryu pretentious?
Because...
You know what? We got to remember too, Mikey, that... you're talking to number one bum fights fan.
Yeah,
like,
that's
worldwide here. So
that's
he
true.
shouldn't have a problem
Ken's,
with the whole Ken arc. You know,
Ken's heel turn to a homeless guy is actually really feeding into Chris's love for him.
Yeah.
By the way, they say 750 parts make up the car. That's way too few, right? There's way more than 750 parts in a car. There's thousands of pieces in a car. Have to be, right?
Did you see that car? It wasn't like a fucking Porsche or anything like that.
It looked like it was half canoe, like carved out of an oak tree. Like
it kind of hurt me seeing this because this car reminded me of the Uncle Buck car. Like, remember the movie Uncle Buck? And I'm like, oh man, like Uncle Buck was such a good dude. He was such a good uncle.
He was,
Mikey. It's 750 parts, including the copies of Stuff magazine that he's got.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. What do you think they found going through that glove compartment? A Don Vito glove compartment is somewhere you should never rummage around.
Gloves,
there's at least one glove,
duct tape.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, this is actually kind of cool. And this all came about. So we were asked in the Jackass Discord. I brought up the Jackass Discord a while ago. It's the Jackass Vault. If you want access to it, you have to email us, jackastpod@gmail.com, and we'll get you access to it. But someone asked a question, which I thought was good. And we'll pose it now because it is kind of relative to what's going on at this point in time. Calm Panda asked us, have there been any instances of you guys learning new or obscure facts during your Viva La Bam rewatch? And also, are you watching the DVD version or the TV version? Or we're watching the DVD version. Speaking of obscure facts, and this is one of the coolest one that I found out. The lawyer who represented Don Vito in trial was the same lawyer who represented Kobe Bryant in court.
What?
How wild is that? Yes.
Oh.
That's a crazy fact.
Isn't that a crazy fact? And during the hearing, basically one of their arguments that they used was that at the public signing where Don Vito, I don't even have to say allegedly because the court found he did it when he groped two 12-year-olds. They said
12?
that
I thought they were like 18.
No, they were 12.
Ooh.
Yeah. They said the argument was he was just being in character, and Don Vito was kind of erratic, and he moves his hands, and it may have accidentally brushed a breast or something in the movement of his hands because he plays the character of Don Vito. And in sentencing, the judge basically said, I'm imagining a bit of tone to this because who knows, but basically the judge ended up saying, fine, if that's a character, if Don Vito is playing a character or the Don Vito we know is a character, then during the whole time you're on probation, you're not allowed to play Don Vito, the character, on TV, at public signings, or anything. So basically, you're not allowed to make money off of this persona that just had you grope a 12-year-old, if that's the defense that you're using. So he really fucked himself over. It seems like the lawyer helped Kobe Bryant a lot more than they helped Don Vito.
I always just assumed his lawyer was fucking Deco in that big oversized suit.
Yeah.
It should have been.
That would have been amazing.
Fucking
Fast Eddie. Yeah, exactly.
Fast Eddie.
He'll get you in jail real fast.
Oh, hey, by the way, commenters, now's your chance. You want to stand up for Don Vito? Now's your chance.
Yeah,
Prime
now's your
time,
chance.
Right
Now
we can
you
take
do
a
it.
break if you want.
Put it this way. If the lawyer that Kobe Bryant chose couldn't get Don Vito off and instead got him 2 years to life in prison, that was his sentence. It was 2 to life. Which he obviously didn't end up serving to life. If that is how bad the charge was, you know that the crime was bad enough. There's no defending it, so stop trying to do that. We know what he did. We know what goes into it. We keep hearing these people being like, Don Vito's not so bad a guy. Stop bringing it up, blah, blah, blah. We have to bring it up, okay?
Yeah, listen, I mean, I think we could probably move on from that. I think, like, we have a quota of... how much Don Vito backstory we can... Oh, shit. Okay. Actually, forget everything I just said.
I'm so sorry, Jay.
Let's keep talking about it.
I'm just very quickly, because it's like my brain isn't as fast as Mikey's. So, like, when I think of it, if I don't get to it right at the time, or yours, Jay.
Don Vito hour. Let's go.
So, I just thought about, like, this whole idea of him being on the stand trying to defend himself. And the person that types the fucking thing, typing in the fucking subtitles, like, as if they were on fucking Viva La Bam.
No, that's worth it. All right. That detour was worth it. I'm glad we went there. I would love to see that record.
By the way, if you're watching this over on YouTube, go back and look at the last minute before Chris started talking. Chris, you zoned out completely. You were imagining this in your head. Like, I saw your eyes were just dead. Like, you weren't there anymore. While you were imagining
it takes all my 100% concentration to come up with something to say, And then when it happened, I thought of the idea and I was just like picturing like what they would be saying and this and that. But yeah, sorry, I had to get that one out.
That was
Jay,
very funny.
It was definitely
well
worth
done.
it, I think.
Done.
The whole thing disgusts me, but if there was like video footage of the trial, I'd probably watch it just to see the Vito-isms and how he like putting him in a situation like that and being up on the stand and shit would probably be pretty fucking funny.
And the fact that when he received his conviction, he, and this is public record, he collapsed on the floor and said, "Just kill me now." And as a result of it, was put on suicide watch. Yeah. True story. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a problem. I don't know how to comment on that. So, hey, Prima Donna said it couldn't be prima done, but look, guys, it's done. They spread all them parts across the yard. And I love when they say, Phil comes out and he says, "Didn't you just get this for Don Vito this morning? I can't believe you. I can't believe you would do this to my brother's car. Hey, Phil, you want to hit it with a pickaxe?" Yes. Yes,
which is great. This is the equivalent of the mob being like, everyone in this room has to fire the bullet into this corpse because we're all guilty right now. And like, we're all in on this together, which I love. But this kind of fucked with me a little bit because Phil comes out and he's like, he's concerned for his brother. Like he there's a moment where it's not Phil Margera, the Phil Margera we know. He's like, bam, like you got, like, he's getting really frustrated. You can't keep doing it. You can't keep breaking his car. This is the fourth one he's gone through. And it got me thinking, like, this is kind of a fucked up situation for Phil to be in. Chris, I want to propose a situation to you. Imagine a situation where you have a kid and your kid gets rich and famous because he makes fun of me and publicly chastises me on camera. And I know you're going to play the role and be like, "That'd be fucking great, blah, blah, blah." But like, that would be a weird situation for you to be in. Like it or not, they're making fun of Don Vito. And I know they're laughing with him and everything, but wouldn't it be a weird situation for you to be in?
I mean, if he brought his friends home from school as Bam and his friends do, and were beating you up, I think it would just be like, it would be so nostalgic and nice for me. I would have such like support and happiness towards it, because I'd be like, "Oh, look at my little boy. Right. He's grown up to be just like his dad, beating up Mikey."
This was my attempt to get a little bit of to make sure you were still an older brother who loved me, but apparently we're not.
I think I could have switched, but all I have in my mind is like, if you go back and watch this episode, right as Phil switches and he starts hitting it, they did like one of those MTV like goopy subtitle screens that just said "Brothers Betrayal" and like, like that weird music. Like,
music too.
So like, as I was about to answer that question honestly and give you some kind of satisfaction, the Brothers Betrayal thing flashed into my face, and I had to handle it properly.
Yeah.
I know it's extra effort, but Mikey, if you have time, could you edit in a Brothers Betrayal right when you ask Chris that question? Just throw that up on screen for a second. I mean, it would be a wish list item. That's all I'm saying.
I may have to do it. And you know what? Go check us out on YouTube if you're listening to us to find out whether or not I did.
So it's because Ryan Dunn was poo-pooing the whole thing. He said this couldn't be finished. There's no way.
Which is, by the way, Jay, I don't think we even said the whole this thing to be finished. They basically want to strip down the car and see if in doing so they can line up all the pieces in a row to reach the end of the field that they were in. That's the whole premise of this, which is it's like that old, if you take your large intestines that like wrap around a football field or something.
No, they say
like
the
that.
world. That's not true.
I was going there. Yeah, the world.
So,
I heard the world though.
That's what I wrote down, and I looked at it on paper. Literally, I'm looking at it right now, and I'm like, I'm not saying that into a microphone because that sounds fucking ridiculous.
It's just not true.
It does. Yeah,
it's impossible. You're saying inside my stomach is bigger than the entire world. I don't give a fuck what kind of scientist is fucking out there. That makes no sense. It's kind of like that thing too. Like, would you rather a penny that doubles every day for 30 days or $5 million or like $1 million? And it turns out a penny that doubles every 30 days is like ends up being like $8 million by 30 days. It's really weird.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the brilliance of compound interest.
I think you guys aren't taking into account that what if you were like Kramer and you had a thin deli slicing meat machine and you just then sliced the intestines into thin strips? Maybe at that point you'd have enough, matter there to.
But it's still the same amount of mass.
No, but Chris, put it this way. I just looked this up. And it said, while these small intestines cannot stretch around the world, your blood vessels can stretch around the earth twice.
You know what could stretch around the world with my fucking dick?
Too easy, man. Too easy. We got to go and get Ryan Dunn to go grab Vito from the house, though, because he lost the bet. So basically, he's got to confront the guy and tell him, "Listen, we fucked up your car again. Sorry, I guess." They, Vito gets a little mad, but within, a few minutes, he's already given Dunn a hug, and they're patching things up there.
It was
I
nice
do love
to
when
see.
Vito says, "Go get me another car," as if they just like come from the corner store or something.
It kind of did.
Yeah, true.
But they Bam asks if maybe they could do a trade-in with the car, which I found funny. But this basically leads us to the dealership because they got to get the guy a new car, right? They're not just going to leave him with nothing. So they start looking around. They get to the lot. I love the sentiment of, hey, nobody sit on any of the cars while we're here, or else we're going to have to buy. God damn it, Vito, get off that bumper. The guy can't even take a 100 steps without having to fucking sit down on a car bumper. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a lot of weight to carry
He's
around.
a
It's
big
gotta be
boy.
fucking exhausting.
I know. Vito and Phil go car hunting together and they disappear, which is always a mistake when you leave the boys alone. I love Vito tells the boys too he'll be back in 10 minutes, which he indicates with 8 fingers that he holds up here.
Dude, when they're about to go in, because they go to Miami Motors, this is a used cars place. I looked it up online. It's not still in business, but I wanted to see if there was anything fun I could figure out. Not much to say about Miami Motors, but when Phil and Don Vito are about to walk into the store, Vito turns around and starts walking, and Bam pushes Phil and says, like, go get us a car. And Phil kind of like stumbles in front of Vito, and Vito says, dude, why are you running? Stop being such a rush. And then Phil looks at him and he says, no, he just pushed me. And I feel like if that happened in the modern day, it would be in the form of like an Instagram post where it's like, don't judge people for where they are because you don't know what put them there. It's like that weird perspective thing of like, you didn't see the fact that he got pushed. You just see him running and you're judging him for it.
I just love his reaction after that. He's just like, oh, he's like he was like so worked up about it. And he's like, okay. Like, I guess maybe he was scared, like someone was coming behind him and his big neck was too lazy to look around, so he'd rather just ask.
Yeah.
So, boys, this episode is a real Jay special because they find a car full of old horse shit here, and I'm just thinking, jackpot, boys. You listen, when you get your buddy's car and he doesn't keep it clean, there's like CDs all over the floor, old Slurpee cups, he's got like discarded tissues, and the bags of animal waste, of course.
100%.
Hey, at least they found a use for this shit. I mean, they take the bag out, and the idea is they're going to dump it into the trunk of the car that Vito is planning on buying. And it just so happens that down the street, there's also a fish market. So how convenient. They go buy a salmon, and all I can say, boys, is that I hope this salmon was one of those, farmed salmon and not a wild one. Because, like, I accept all kinds of fish. No matter how you identify, I accept you, all right? Unless you're a farmed fish, then you can just fuck off, all right? Like,
well, it's not their fault they were farmed. That's like hating slaves for the fact that they were slaves. Like,
you have some ambition. Get out of the pond, go find the streams where you belong.
Yeah, get yourself out of those situations, Jay says, after I make a slavery reference.
No, to be fair, I talked over the
Kanye over
reference,
here.
But, Kanye, Jesus. This segment, I gotta say, like, so far, we're hitting at like an 11 out of 10 for this episode. The beginning with them just as a bunch of friends being like, I wonder if this will stretch across the field, and doing it. Yeah. And then fucking with Don Vito's car, and then putting manure in his trunk, and then the salmon. I'm like, this is doubling down. I'm like, in. Especially the first 10 minutes or so of this episode has been so much fucking fun. I loved it. I love the moment of it. By the way, when they're playing around with the manure, it clearly like really smells.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like really bad. And manure is like a specific smell, but I don't think it's like the worst in the world. There must have been something really rank about this. But if you watch, there's a moment where Bam like smells his finger. He's like, oh, fucking Jesus. And before he even does anything, Dunn Mr. Miyagi's his arm, and then Bam tries to put it in front of his face. Like, Dunn knows him well enough. He sees the Matrix and like puts his hand down to grab it before Bam puts it right in front of his nose. It was great.
Yeah. Are you telling me that I can dodge shit? No, I'm telling you that when you're ready, you won't have to.
You really have to.
Listen, Jay's a big poo-poo boy. Can I tell you a poo-poo story real quick?
Absolutely.
Let's hear it. Yeah.
Well, you're talking about a big bag of animal manure, and it reminded me of the story. I grew up in a small town where there was a lot of like rural shit happening around the town, farmers and stuff. So we had like this big silo in town that had a huge ladder that you could climb to the top and get a pretty good view of the town. It was like, this is like a fucking, if you've ever seen a grain elevator, it's like as tall as one of those. So we were all really drunk. We were drinking tequila that night in the garage, I remember. And then we went out and kind of were just, 18-year-olds with a piss and vinegar, just wanted to get into some trouble. And we found this big silo, and it happened to be filled at the time with what I think must have been pig shit.
Oh,
but
my
it had
God.
kind of like leaked out of the bottom. So we thought, hey, we want to climb up to the top of the ladder, smoke a joint, whatever, have a good time. We trekked through the pig shit to get to the ladder because we were all so wasted we didn't realize. And as we went up every rung of that ladder, we got to come back down eventually, right? We stunk so fucking bad that night that we went to the gas station across the street to pick up some stuff to eat and get some drinks, and they actually kicked us out because they thought someone had shit their pants. It was that bad. So I believe it when Bam is not overreacting. Like, the smell is pretty rank. I actually wrecked one of my favorite hats because I threw it in the washing machine when I got home and dried it, and it was all warped. It was never the same. But
Jay,
I like the idea
I just want to say thank you for sharing your origin story with us.
Yeah.
This is his Spider-Man.
This is your superhero origin story.
Rumor has it, I still have some of the poo remains in my shoes to this day.
This would have been, I thought you were, honestly, I kind of thought you were going to say that you fell into the top of it and it like sucked you down and then you came out the other side
quicksand.
like a fucking, like quicksand.
Dude, gnarly though, because you came out with not a shred of clothing on you and a raging hard on, and that defined the rest of your life. I already told you, go back to episode 1. It was the big Metal Gear Solid 2 kaiju poo-poo situation. That's what the origin story was.
I remember that. I do remember that.
Look, not that I want to bring this back up or anything, but go back and listen to episode 1. Poo cocktail versus big kaiju men. You might just be on the same path as I am. I mean, that's a dangerous cocktail.
It's not a path you want to go down either. I got to say that.
Am I using the right word, Japanese
kaiju.
Enthusiasts? Kaiju?
Yeah.
Is that
kaiju.
Correct?
It's like the giant monster. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, look at me. All right.
Like Godzilla, I think, is a kaiju or something like that.
Speaking of stank, though, they buy... Jesus Christ, too easy again. Way too easy. But I appreciate it anyways. So speaking of the stank, though, boys, Vito and Phil get in the car. They're driving their newly purchased vehicle home. And it doesn't take long.
Are we moving right past the office of this guy? Can I say my piece on the office before they get into the car? Okay, so this guy at Miami Motors has to know that the Margera crew are coming in to film. And so he preps for this, right? Like, you can't just like come and start filming, maybe, but like he has some time to figure out his workspace. If you look at like how he's arranged everything, there's two, first of all, like pristine model sports cars on the front of his desk, which is like, you're selling really shitty used cars. It's like having like a Mandarin buffet and you have to walk through like a great steakhouse to get there. It's like, look at all the shit that you can't have. And then you go deal with that. And then the other thing is he's like, I got to make this place look good. He just tapes an American flag to the filing cabinet. There's an American flag up in the window there. He puts his 750 milliliter jug of Pepsi just like down beside him on the chair. You can see it on screen. It's like no prep whatsoever. But in his mind, he's like, as long as I got the racing cars and like 17 American flags, this is going to go over great. This bizarre choices.
No joke, no word of a lie. I don't know if it's just like the code among sketchy used car salesmen, but the last car I bought had that shit on the desk when I went in to go and settle business with them. No joke. They had a bunch of model cars with like Corvettes and shit. And like,
yeah, like
selling any of
don't
these.
Do that.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, sign this and you won't have any of this shit. That's I don't love it. But
the conversation in the car turns quickly to Phil asking Vito, like, did you shower today? Did you let out a fart? Like, what's going on here? You can tell something's wrong until Vito looks in the rear view mirror and right now, I'm just going to spoil it right now. MVP of the show. It's the salmon with the cigarette in his mouth in the backseat. Beautiful visual. Salmon. I want that shit on my wall, and I want it to sing. And I want it to sing.
Oh, like one of those bass, those like fishing bass.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Man, I love how Vito was just like, he was so nonchalant about the smell. Like, it's like, obviously it smelled terrible. Like, you could tell that, like, what Phil's like, obviously it's bothering him. He's like, and Vito's reaction is, that's an old car. It's going to smell bad. I'm like, you're just accepting the smell of rotten fish, smoking a cigarette mixed with manure that even Bam was too scared to get near, and just write it off as an old car. Like,
but Chris, here's the thing you got to realize. I think I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that there is a rancid stench that follows Vito around everywhere he goes, and he's got to just be used to the fact that it's always there. So he's like, whether he's in a new car, an old car, there's a scent on him that just smells bad. And he's probably like, there's always an element of it that's me. And it probably overpowers the rest of the room that he's in or the space that he's in. That's got to be what it is.
That's just that's there to scare off the predators, Mikey.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a warning signal, like the rattle of a rattlesnake or something is his stench.
Oh, sorry, maybe I got that backwards. I used the term predators, so I don't know if maybe we got to do a little workshop on that one. But
well, no, I think it works.
It works.
Oh, to ward off the predators. I see.
Listen,
yes, yeah.
Let's not read too much into it now, but
when Phil,
boys.
Sorry, when Phil goes to Vito though, like you mentioned, Jay, he's like, he says to him, and I quote, "Did you get a shower today?" And he says it in like a very motherly tone, as though it's concerned. A common thing for him to be like, "Hey, Vito, you know you have to do this, right? Like, don't let me catch you not showering again. Like when your mom finds out you didn't brush your teeth or something like that. Like that's the tone he says. It was both lovable and horrifying. The fact that it seems like this is a conversation they've had on multiple occasions.
Yeah. It's like we had the intervention already. I thought we were past this, Vito. I can't believe we're back here again. I got to say, though, boys, when you leave the dealership, there's a reason they ask you what flavor of air freshener you want with the car when you drive off the lot. Maybe they just picked the wrong one. I don't know.
That could be it. That could be it. Yeah, whatever the Miami Motors air freshener is just, it basically smells like a salmon smoking a cigarette. Yeah.
It is already, believe it or not, demo derby time. So we're getting the setup here because what's going to happen as soon as these two get home, they're pretty much greeted to a row of old cars. So it looks like with all that MTV money, they bought a lot more than just one car for Vito. Like they've got these things lined up in a row. Their fucking yard looks like the used car lot now.
Well, the best part is when they're driving them all home, they all take a car.
Yeah.
Like Vito has his new car. He's in the front. He didn't even get out of his new car before he got rear-ended to a rear end to a rear end to a rear end. It was like that whole joke, 100 naked gay guys in a line. The first one stops,
What?
Like 100? Just imagine that.
It's
like
bum
the first
joke,
one stops.
I see. I see.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
But and the reason why I say that is because have you ever seen a 8-car fucking rear-ending chain reaction where everybody was so happy? Like they were so pumped about this, and that's what spawned the whole fucking idea, right?
It was so funny. God. They were all very happy about it. Yeah,
I don't know why my mind went here, Chris, but Chris or Mike, you can fucking jump in on this one. You ever go to like your grandparents' house and they have those old those toys? It's like the sticks and the wooden things. You stick the stick in the hole and you can build all sorts of little.
Yes, I do. There was like circular ones and like long.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I fucking love those things.
Yeah. I remember those.
So the joke you just told, I don't know why, but that just popped in my head and I thought that was funny. So.
Oh, just sticks and holes.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like,
it's a good anatomy
lesson. Where the fuck
lesson.
did they buy those? I haven't seen one of those. Like that. The only time I've seen one is when I went to a grandparent's house, and they're like the only people who own that shit.
I feel like when you hit the age of like 80, you just get brought to a room, and they have like Werther's originals. Yeah. Those weird
the candies with
Scotch mints,
the candies
with the powder on them. The candies with the powder on them.
Yeah.
A toy train somewhere. Yeah, and they just
Russian
hand
dolls,
that out to their Russian dolls, Russian nesting dolls. Yeah. Speaking of what a lot of the Russians are wearing these days, did you guys notice that Don Vito has dog tags on? Oh, geez. Oh. No, dog tags. Don Vito wears dog tags. And I gotta ask, what war was Don Vito fighting in? I didn't learn about the Great Hoagie War of 1996, but I'm sure that's got to be what it is.
The Hoagie War, yeah.
I could have seen him being in Vietnam.
Honestly, I kind of can. I looked it up. I didn't find any history of service, though.
Holy shit. Yeah, who knows? Could be a thing. Could just be a fashion statement for all I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so here we are. We basically got to get these cars prepped for the demo derby. That's the goal for the rest of the episode. And as they're doing this, Glom gets on the phone with Bam, and it turns out he found a cool prize for the demo derby. They find this huge, speaking of the military service, they find a military truck. And he's asking Bam on the phone, like, hey, should I buy this thing? Like, you got to give me the go-ahead here. Bam gets another call, and he just hangs up on Glom here. Wait, hold on, I got another call. Like, you could at least just said yes or no first. It wouldn't have killed you, but...
Yeah, this was such a weird scene, like, so obviously staged a three-way phone conversation.
Oh, totally.
Like, so blatantly obvious. It was a cool idea, but at the end, it's like, what is the purpose of all? Like, why are they doing this? I guess just story time. I shouldn't read too much into it, but it was very... It's like when you try to overly stylize something and it becomes distracting. I found that was kind of this. Because my mind started going, I'm like, so wait, they called each other to say, I'm about to call you, turn all the cameras on, let's figure that. And it's
three
like,
different camera crews in 3 different areas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's it. Glom decides, screw this, I'm buying it. And that's the end of that. So, yeah, Dunn's in the shop. He was the other guy on the phone there. And basically, he's kind of in charge of prepping these cars and taking care of that. So everybody's doing their jobs. Bam's just at the fucking skate park skating, not contributing at all.
Yeah.
And wait a second, guys, no pun intended, but hold the fucking phones here. Bam drops in, and then the camera, like, extreme close-ups on, is this Glorin here? I'm sorry, I'm so bad recognizing it, but
yeah.
I thought it was her. But she looks at the camera and goes, Nardog drop, a.k.a. Batto drop in.
It was
I don't know what the fuck she's saying.
I've never been more confused in my life.
Totally.
Was I supposed to have a clue of what that meant? It was honestly, I felt like I was high. Like something had happened that was so detached from reality that my brain was just like left in the dust. It was like it was like in Doctor Strange or something when, like, you know, when he gets like punched out of his body and his spirit like goes farther back behind him. Like that's what I felt was happening to me. I just couldn't comprehend.
There you go.
It's just a different style of drop in. It's like more of a sketchier. If you actually rewatch it, it's not like a regular drop in. Nardog drop in, aka.
Okay, but why does she have to get up in my face about it? That's fine. Just fucking do the drop in. That's gonna haunt me for fucking days now. You know, that's like when you're watching a fucking movie and then the movie's just been like straight shot the whole time, and all of a sudden one of the characters just speaks to the camera, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah,
no. You can't do that. That breaks all of the rules.
Do you think after she was getting piped down, like if the guy did a good job, she just turn around from the doggy style position and be like, Nardog.
Nardog drop it. Oh.
I would come again instantly.
I think so. Yeah, I'd drop right back in there. Yeah.
Drop right back in. So step one for demo prep, boys. As we all know, you got to remove the old glass, which Dunn drops on the floor and shatters into a million tiny pieces, which, fact, if you lined up in a row, you could actually go around the world 3 times with all those shards of glass.
Lined up.
Pretty cool.
When he does that and he bends over, you can see his butt crack. Like he's got that, like there's so much butt crack in this episode. I don't know if this one's any different or I just noticed it more, but like if you go back and watch this, everyone's butt crack is showing at some point in time. Not just Don Vito's and Phil's this time. It's like Ryan Dunn's, you see Bam's, you probably see Glom's at some point. There's a lot of butt crack.
Glom's
an exciting episode. Glom's bomb.
It was a style at the time, Mikey. I don't know. We got to improve the aerodynamics on the car, too, so they're taking care of that shit. But basically, I thought there was going to be more steps, because they're like telling you, here's the steps.
That was
we get 2 steps, it gets interrupted, and we never come back to this for the rest of the episode.
It was wild. I literally, I had a section of my notes that was like, okay, the steps to take care of a car. Yeah. And I was like, I had to rewind back, similar to in the community disservice episode, when Bam's like, we have 5 acts of service. And I was like, where the fuck did the 5th one come from? And I had to rewind it to find out that he just counted one twice, basically. In this one, I was like, did I miss steps 3, 4, and 5? It's like, no. It's just steps 1 and 2.
So they sold Don Vito's car parts for extra money, and they bought these nifty like safety suits that you wear when you're in a demo derby, like, you know, the full zip up thing, the helmet and everything. And they've got Rake Yon ready to test them out. So they're basically just, you know, doing anything they can. They've got a rope tied to them, so they kind of like hog tie them and pull them down to the grass. And now they get the guys to come in with baseball bats and just start giving it to him basically as he's there. I'm not sure what the flying elbow drop was supposed to simulate, but you know.
Well, gee, if you're driving in a car and you get a head-on collision with someone, and that person's not wearing.
Randy Savage comes through the windshield.
That guy's coming straight at you. Yeah. He's patting his elbow, and he's coming straight through your windshield. He's going straight for you. That's what you're going against.
So I was watching this part, and it made me kind of like I got a little too deep into things when I'm thinking about this.
Uh-oh.
So, you know, Rake. We know now he's like a full-blown scientist. He's obviously was a smart guy in school. There's not really any cool, like, non-nerdy scientists, let's be honest. But there's a certain time when people kind of hit puberty. They kind of, like, stray away from their, you know, like, what their actual passions are, maybe to fit in a little bit more, et cetera, et cetera. But, like, the core of that person's always there. So I think, you know, like, he's like, oh, I could be in this movie with them. I could be Hellboy. I could kind of grow myself out, make myself look cooler. And in the process of that, you know, it kind of works a little bit for a while, but he still would have to be that nerd. Like, he is always the one taking these group beat downs. When they drop the thing on his head, the watermelon, like, you could see this frustration starting to build up where he's kind of, and he's like one of the few people that isn't really involved in these crews that much anymore. You know what I mean? Like, he probably went on to be one of the best scientists of all time just because he's like, fuck these guys if I can't do it this way. It's kind of like in Cobra Kai, Hawk. It's like, yeah, sure, he got his mohawk and he was cool for a few episodes, but he was still fucking dork deep down. He still got his ass kicked all the time, So be true to who you are, people. Don't try and fit in. Be that person you're supposed to be, because if you're not cool, you're going to get your ass fucking kicked. It is what it is.
That explains a lot about the last 4 or 5 years of my life.
100%.
I really fought against it, like a smoked salmon swimming upstream. Yeah, I tried to be cool, and I just kept getting my ass kicked time and time again.
Is that why they had the cigarette in the salmon's mouth, like smoked salmon?
Yeah, smoked salmon.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I just thought it looked cool.
It's a beautiful work of art. It's deep. It's got layers, just like your little speech there, which I think we should make a segment on the show, just heart to heart with Chris. You can just jump in and kind of just get real. Get real with Chris. Like
the People's Champ. We can call it the People's Champ.
People's Champ.
Hey, Jay, I got a question for you. You mentioned that when Rake gets the safety thing on, they hog tie him, they get him to the ground, and they start hitting him with bats. They were obviously plastic bats, like blatantly. Did in your mind, were they trying to pretend like they weren't? Were they trying to pretend like those were real bats?
Maybe. I don't know if you were supposed to read into it, so maybe they thought they could get away with that. The cheaper.
Like, it seemed like at one point Rake even says, like, "Did you guys hit me with bats?" Like, as if to sell the fact that they were bats, but they were obviously plastic bats. And then they ADR'd in some hit sounds, but in the post-credit sequence, they're just hitting him with bats again, and you can hear the hollow whiffle sound of them when they hit him with the bats. And I was like, no one's going to believe that you're beating him with a real baseball bat there. I don't know. It was a weird
I kind of thought they did.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay. Maybe
like,
I'm wrong.
Like, not like a freaking Louisville Slugger, but like I thought it was still like a...
So a poorly made baseball bat, just not a...
Well, like maybe out of
Slugger.
A cork tree opposed to a hard oak.
Oh, okay.
Right,
okay. Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying. So they take him to the firehouse now because he's a dirty boy. We got to hose him down. So they get the fire hose out. They basically spray him, and nothing remarkable happens until they turn the hose off and his pants are at the ankles, which you can't plan it better than that, can you?
No, his balls have never been this clean, as he says.
Yeah, that too. And you'll never have children. But now they've got him up in a tree. It's like this whole part of the episode is just like, they're really indulging in that. What can we do with Rake in the suit? And like, they're really giving it to us. They got him up in a tree and they're going to like fucking throw him off the roof, from this tree. And don't worry, guys. Like, we've had some rope left over from one of Don Vito's Boy Scout meetings. So he'll be okay. Just tie him up, let him go and see what happens. He kind of spins off the roof there. And
it's the zip line from the old casino.
There you go. That must have been what it was. And
wait, did you not pick up on that?
No, I didn't actually.
Seriously?
You're right.
Chris,
though.
you picked up on that,
yeah,
right?
100%.
Yeah, I thought that was like so obvious.
In fact, I was wondering if that maybe happened before, and they actually added like.
Oh, maybe.
I was wondering if they had that zip line and then they added that feature to the casino with the ATM later on, because it kind of seemed like because I didn't see the rest of the casino there, right?
Yeah.
No, I saw the treehouse. I mean, they would have had to take out like the roulette wheel and stuff like that because they're not going to be playing there every night. But it was probably on rental from MTV. Yeah.
Hey guys, did somebody say blueprints or did somebody say poo prints?
Hey.
They just dump a bunch of shit on Ape's floor. I don't know what they were gonna draw in it and make a blueprint. I think it didn't really go anywhere.
They're trying to make a track for the Derby, but at this point, you know how I said I'm like the first 10 minutes of this episode or the first bits of this episode I fucking loved. There's like from when they get the safety suits, or you know what, from Ryan Dunn starting to pick apart the cars until now, I literally wrote in my notes, I'm like, I can't keep up with this episode. There's so much shit going on, and they don't spend enough time in any of it to let it simmer. I think they should have gotten rid of like one segment here and drawn out something else, because it just felt a little bit too ADD at this point. Yeah,
totally. It is ADD, and like that actually leads into the next point perfectly, because we get this cut, like hard cut. And okay, if the Glorin thing, like talking to you and telling you her deepest desires and fears to the camera and like penetrating your inner psyche and just freaking you out wasn't enough, we get this shot of like petting zoo animals, like ducks and chickens and shit for like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you just never see that shit again, and you wonder, did I just fucking hallucinate that too? Why the fuck was that in there? Because the next shot is the cars coming down the hill.
Right, yeah.
What are the petting zoo animals doing in there? What was that?
It must have been filmed next to a petting zoo or something, like the Derby
Why?
part. But you know what?
Explain that shit. It doesn't...
Explain a lot of shit about this
It's
show.
called avant-garde, guys. Get what the fuck out.
It's called avant-garde. But similar to that, you know what it kind of had the vibe of is like, when you see like like the old VHSs, you'd be filming a school project and then you'd have like a 3-second clip from like the Treble Charger music video that you filmed on the VHS and you tried to tape over. It like cuts in and out like accidentally showing something else.
It's funny how I actually remember that happening with you with that specific Treble Charger video. Friend of mine.
Thought about Treble Charger.
Did that happen to me specifically?
100%. Because he used to record that music video and he used to wear the wristbands and like it was just kind of like you really like Treble Charger.
I loved Treble Charger. I wanted to dye
my
hair like
really popular
friend of mine.
Song?
Friend of mine.
There was another one, wasn't there?
Red was another really good. And American Psycho.
American Psycho.
But that was like later.
Okay.
Yeah, Jay, the listener may not know this, but Chris and I are a bit older than Jay. And American Psycho came out a few years after Friend of Mine. But Friend of Mine was the first big hit,
So here's the thing. Even though I am like a couple years back from you guys, I like totally grew up with the music that you guys did. Like I was always into what my brothers were into and shit. So like I totally get it. Like
spoken like a true AI.
All about
with the access of all the internet.
How did you know? I like how that's where your mind went. But all right.
Yeah.
No, Jay, there's rumors circulating between there's rumors circulating that you are an AI program.
Yeah. That we programmed you.
Man, I am. Yeah, this is beautiful.
Someone legitimately asked me, I swear to God, they like DM, they're like, is Jay a real person? And I was like, to be honest, I can't confirm or deny this. That. I've never met him in real life. I've never seen him on camera.
No, that's
I've
true.
only seen that one stained picture that you guys have all seen. So like, I think he is
the fucking best. I've supposed to been doing camera for like the longest time just for our purposes because I'm just gonna say it on the podcast. Like it's just my personal preference. It's nothing against these guys or anything that I don't do it. It's just personal preference thing. But yeah, I think that's so fucking funny that I didn't even like think of that till Chris just said it now. You have never actually seen me in motion before.
I've never. Don't know a thing about you other than what you have heard us talk about on this podcast. And I don't know if Mikey has either.
No, I haven't either. I don't know. I don't fucking know this dude. I thought you knew this dude.
These guys are the best of friends.
Yeah.
Like, no, we've literally never interacted.
Yeah,
in real
we're
life
three lifelike fans. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fucking lies. Every episode has been lies. Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry. I'll. You know what? I'm gonna make a point. I'm gonna make a point right here on the podcast. This isn't for you people out there. Sorry. I'm probably not gonna go into that territory. But for these two motherfuckers, I'm probably gonna start. We're gonna do some cam. We're gonna do some nasty stuff. But I can't show you any of that. It's gonna get real. It's gonna get like early 2000s when webcams first came out and everybody was just showing their pussies and it was. Nice.
I feel like you're gonna turn on the webcam. It's just gonna be a big Macintosh Apple. I am Steve Jobs in the future.
Yeah.
I don't know.
God,
Sorry, that was
AI.
not a good joke,
I love it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Where are we? Oh yeah, petting zoo animals. Okay, the cars are here. Forget about the petting zoo. Let's list off the cars that are taking part, shall we? We've got.
And then after that, can we each say who we wanted to win based on this and who we thought would win based on this?
Oh,
I love that. Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. Just based off the designs alone. Okay. So first we've got Bam's tank. We've got Dunn's Cream Dream, which is basically like an ice cream truck themed thing, complete with cone on the roof. You've got Glom's Insecurity Mobile, which is supposed to be like a police cruiser. Mm-hmm. And then you've got Rab's Reverse Microwave. The Space Caddy. Just think of the Reverse Microwave if you've seen Haggard, and that's basically like an analog for this car. But wait, boys, Jesus, there's more. And boys, I'm really conflicted on this next one. Now, I don't like Don Vito. We've established this, but he's driving the Poo-mobile, like a real Poo-mobile too. This isn't, no knockoff Poo-mobile. So this just, to me, feels like a real hate fuck, rage boner type of situation from my perspective, because that car is pretty awesome. I don't know what to do. I'm going to need counseling after this episode, I think.
Was that your favorite car, Jay? The number 2 car?
Listen, Poo car aside, because it's a shoe-in. Let's pick from the other 4.
Okay.
Unless one of you guys wants to pick the Poo-mobile, that's fine. But I kind of feel like Don Vito doesn't even really participate here, so it's kind of hard to like you'll see in a minute what I mean. But
yeah,
give me
Chris,
give me your picks.
Yeah, Chris, what's your pick? Which one did you like the best, and which one did you? Which one? I guess. What did you say?
Who do you think was going to win, and which one did you like want to win? Maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
I wanted Dunn to win because that reminded me of Twisted Metal. Like the fucking ice cream truck type thing. And I was fuck, man, I can see like him getting that clown evilness and just like fucking everybody up. But I just assumed, and I didn't really think about this at the time, but it was Dunn kind of making all these cars. But if someone was going to win and have the best chance, it's Tim Glom. You know, that's kind of the way that I fucking was thinking about it.
So I thought of it a little bit differently. I agree. I based who I wanted to win off of the car that I liked the best. And I absolutely loved Ryan Dunn, his car, the Cream Dream. I agree. He looked a lot like Needles Kane, aka Sweet Tooth from the Twisted Metal franchise.
Oh God, yeah, so good.
By the way, there's a live action Twisted Metal TV show or movie coming out, and Mike Mitchell, the host of a podcast that I really like called Doughboys, is going to be playing Sweet Tooth. So keep an eye out for that. But I didn't think Dunn was going to win. I honestly, in my mind, thought that there was no way Glom was going to win because he's just not a central enough figure in Viva La Bam to win. And I thought this was going to be staged. I thought Bam was going to win for sure. I was just like, he's going to force himself to be the winner by hook or by crook.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. No,
what about you, Jay?
I can't agree with you more. Like style points alone, the Cream Dream is pretty.
Yeah, it's the best one.
I didn't even think of the Twisted Metal thing till Chris said that. So that's like awesome. But yeah, obviously Jay likes the Poo-mobile, but I think if I'm not going to pick the Vito car just out of principle, I actually kind of liked Rab's car just because it was so abstract.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know what I was looking at for the first couple seconds. I had to kind of get another glimpse at it. Kind of like that thing. There's something cool about it. Cool. I'd probably go with that one, but I also got to say Glom's car, just something about that whole aesthetic of just like some asshole cop who just play by the rules is, I don't know, it's kind of cool.
It was like a Vigilante 8 kind of vibe to it.
Yeah. But who did I think was gonna win? Like I liked Rab's car, but I kind of thought Bam was just gonna be the shoe-in winner because it's his show, and I kind of thought he would play the cards in his favor through editing or whatever to win. But I guess we should talk about how it really played out, eh?
Sure, let's do it.
Yeah. So the Derby is on, and we just watch them smash up each other, and it's kind of hard to talk about exactly what's happening, but a few key points are that Rab takes a lot of damage up front, and he actually ends up going down first. He's out like pretty quickly.
No, Bam's out first.
I thought Rab goes down first, then
Bam
directly after.
Bam's out first, and it's cool because they have like health bars for all the cars.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's actually tied to anything, but they, they're green, and then they get into the orange and the red. This whole like the production value of this and like the interface of it, I actually really liked.
Oh yeah, it was cool. Yeah, they had to hire a fucking UI designer just for this one.
Yeah. But
Vito,
Jay, you missed what? Yeah, okay. So Vito, go into Vito because this is fascinating. This part.
Yeah,
Brothers
so
Redemption.
Everything starts. There's a little bit of smashing, and then Vito just kind of parks his car, like he's just not even in it. And Bam comes running over. And just like GTA 3 came out, the first time I pulled an innocent bystander out of the car, threw them onto the street, and took over, Bam just gets in there, and now he's driving the Poo-mobile. And I feel like this should have made me like it a little bit more, but it kind of doesn't. Like it doesn't. No. I don't feel that way when Bam gets in, and I'm just more confused now. Do I like the Poo-mobile? Do I not? Why don't I like the Poo-mobile?
I didn't like it because it felt like it was trying too hard. It just felt like it was trying way too hard.
The little poo that could. The little poo that could.
I loved how Phil looked concerned for his brother.
Yeah.
Right. And amidst all this, and he's like literally like it didn't even seem like a staged moment. It seemed very candid to me, at least. Maybe I'm naive, but he's like, hey,
no, I agree. It seemed very sweet.
These guys are fucking crazy. Don't get involved in this. Just park over here. And then go back out after, and I was like, it was nice to see after he screwed over his brother to see so you know what it would be like, Mikey, in your scenario, when you're talking about if I had a kid and him and his friends are beating you up and kind of making fun of you and stuff like that, that would be like after that happened at the end of it, when you're down in the dumps and you've just kind of lost your faith in me, I pulled my kid aside and I said, you know what? Fuck you. You're out of here, little son. You're going to live with your cunt mother who's addicted to drugs instead of your cool-ass dad. And me and you could live our lives happily together and fuck that little kid.
Finally, let's move in together, man. Let's do it. I've been hoping you'd say some shit like this. Your kid was always a piece of human trash.
Yeah.
He's going to be fine. I was
No, he
hoping
won't.
His
mom is terrible. Any woman that would have had a kid with me is like probably a drug addict or has some serious issues. So that kid's going to have a fucked up life.
That's their problem.
Exactly.
That's their problem.
He could have been living with his cool ass dad and his uncle, but
we'll play some FIFA. We'll order some pizza. We'll do some crash test dummies, riding some derbies. Chris, I love this idea.
Cool. All right. I'm glad the brothers' redemption happened.
The brothers' redemption is back.
High five.
But I like how Mikey would ruin the life of a small child just to have one moment of genuine peace and enjoyment with his own brother.
And you know what? I wouldn't regret it.
There's been so much neglect in that relationship that he'd do just about anything at this point.
I would. Like we said last episode, Chris reeked me, and I'll do anything for my my brother. I like that because Phil's mentality is like they'll beat the shit out of each other. You just drive in last, hit one car and you win. Like his plan was to pull a Fortnite and to just hide somewhere, let everyone else shoot the shit out of each other, be in the right place, right time, snipe off the last person after they're done their battle and they're low on health, and you win. Winner, chicken dinner. Campers, yeah, exactly.
Fucking worst. And I always knew he was one. Listen, but Mikey, when you talked about Glom, you're totally right about Glom. Like he was just too good for this. He couldn't win. So of course, how does he lose this race? Glom, you're leaving the mission area. Turn around now. 5, 4, 3. Yeah, he basically drives out of bounds. I didn't even know that was a thing, but they deem him disqualified from the race for doing that. So he's out now.
This feels like it feels like when Phil and Vito and Fatboy Face Off had the arm wrestle, and I can't remember what it was that Phil did, but he like moved his wrist or something. Like, you can't do that. You can't do like it. And all of a sudden that was a rule, even though it didn't exist before. And I think they did say it. They're like, no one's allowed to leave the bounds of the playing field. But I bet you they added that like after the fact just to find an excuse to let Bam win. It just feels wrong. But here's another thing, like, the whole episode's leading up to this crash test derby, like this destruction derby. I have no idea what even happened. Like, it was not filmed great. Like, in terms of what was actually going on, at some points you look, the cars aren't moving. People are out of their cars, like it's fucking cricket, like they're taking a tea break or something, like it's a test match or something. They're going back in, they're trying to move things around. I didn't really understand what was happening, and yet, in spite of the fact that it's kind of slow pace, when it goes to Glom getting out of his car after they call him out, he's fucking drenched in sweat. And I'm like, how did that happen? You guys were going like 3 kilometers an hour, barely touching each other, and then you come out and he's just like fucking drenched. I don't understand how this one got from point A to point B.
Yeah, it was a little disjointed for sure. I agree. Like there was so much shit going on that that's why I said like up front, it's kind of hard to even describe the action. It's more just about the events that they kind of. I feel like some of it was a little bit orchestrated, almost like you said with the whole Glom thing. It feels a little forced, but whatever. So here's the thing I said at the front too, when we were going to describe what happened. And I had mentioned that I thought Bam was going to win because it's his show. Yeah. But I kind of don't even know if he did win. I was a little confused because technically he's driving Vito's car. He was already eliminated, right? So I think they kind of deem that there's a little bit of a fight between Vito and Bam here where Vito's like, fuck you, I won, even though he didn't technically drive in the race. So what do you guys think? Like, who do you think was the true winner here?
It's Vito. It's not about the driver. It's about the car. The car has to be running at the end of this. And it was. And I don't care who drives it. Look, Bam can do whatever you want. You can hire a new driver. Like if I'm a team owner and I own a car, I hire a driver for that car. I don't care if the driver swaps out. It's still my car. If Ferrari wins the F1 race, Ferrari won the race. Give credit to the driver, sure. But like, doesn't matter. It's about the car in this case. And as much as I hate to admit it, that means in my mind, Vito won.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. Those are the rules of car races. I don't know if Demolition Derby is a little bit different, but
it's called car racing, Toto.
Yes,
we went car racing.
Fuck Lewis Hamilton.
So you're saying, Mikey?
I'm saying what?
Are you insinuating that Michael Schumacher has just been a pawn this whole time?
This whole time,
it's never really been about the man.
You know what's funny, Jay, is like you're kind of joking, but athletes, drivers, all that shit are pawns for the people who own the teams to make way more money than all of them combined. Like that, they are kind of pawns in a weird way. Not to like drill into this, get too inside baseball, but
you're getting a little too close to fucking some Kanye rhetoric there, buddy. You need to pull back.
I didn't mention their religions.
I know, but that's how it starts. It starts with a seed. Just enough to get your fucking foot in the door, you know? Next thing you know.
So wait a minute.
You're going to re-uncircumcise your penis.
Chris, sorry, it starts with an Hasid? What?
So hold on. I know I bring up this motherfucker on the show a lot, and trust me, it's not orchestrated or planned, but does this mean that Bam is kind of like a Vince McMahon figure? Because think about it, he kind of technically, he owns everything, but he also participates, much like Vince McMahon owns the product and, you know, goes and gets his ass kicked and shot with a beer cannon by Stone Cold and all that shit. You know, he's not afraid to take part and be one of the boys.
And he still gets the final say. He's the one who kind of writes it.
So it's almost a flip, though, because if he is Vince, but then would that mean make Ape and Phil, Stephanie and Shane McMahon, even though they're his parents?
God, yes. Sure, why not? Just,
imagine
Ryan Dunn is Triple H.
Doing the Shane
Ryan Dunn is Triple H.
The what?
Ryan Dunn is Triple H.
Yes. Oh my! See, that one I can see. But just visualize this for a second. If you know anything about Shane McMahon,
this is getting very incestuous and gross the more I think about it. But yes, go ahead.
If you know anything about Shane McMahon, you know that little shuffle he would do before his fight. Picture Phil trying to do it, and I bet he would nail it. Yeah. It would just be the greatest thing.
Absolutely nail it.
Yeah,
now I feel like
Muhammad
done
Ali's
it
foot
before.
shuffle thing.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing Phil doing the coast to coast, and that makes me happy. You guys know the coast to coast? That's where you get in one corner of the ring. You got a guy laying down, like, you know, back up against the turnbuckle. You go to the opposite side, you know, the turnbuckle that's, I don't know if it's cross. I don't think it's cross ring. I think it's
kitty corner.
Kitty corner.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically like a drop kick. And sometimes he would do that shit where the guy would like hold the trash can and shit, and he drop kick the trash. Attitude Era, baby. Just let's do a podcast on that shit.
Honestly.
Listen, though, this basically takes us out of the demo derby because after this, we got to give the army truck to someone, the real winner. And Vito has claimed that's him, so he gets in there. But I guess the guys, you know, since there's a dispute over this, they decide you can have the truck, but we're putting this giant piece of cow shit in the truck with you.
Yeah.
And you got to drive around. And yeah, that's basically it. There's one line that I want to ask you guys about, too, where they say Vito can't drive. He's shit-faced. And I'm just wondering, like, was that just a really clever pun, or is he actually drunk right now?
I think it was a pun because I caught that as well. It was a good one because he had like they decorated the number 2 car with like, I don't know what it ended up being. It was like pudding or something, but he had it all over him, including his face, and his shit face was a great line. I like that.
That's what I figured. Thank you for the clarification.
But it's funny because Vito basically takes the Deuce, which is which actually. Interesting name for the truck that he ends up winning when this whole episode's about shit, now that I think about it. But that's the name of the military vehicle that he gets. And he's driving it through, and they have this thing where it's as though he's trying to run everyone over, whatever. Man, side by side, give me Don Vito and Hezbollah. You know Hezbollah from
the cutest human ever?
The cutest human ever. And when he gets like he has this look in his eye when he's just about to fuck with someone, and Vito's like just haphazardly like yanking at the wheel and everything, like get out of the way. Like Hezbollah and him are just like 1-to-1 the same human being there.
That is actually I could see that 100%. That's so funny.
Yeah, Vito lays waste to the demo derby track like this is a 2-minute timed mission where you just have to rack up a largest destruction total that you can. He almost runs over some of the crew. He's like not fucking around here.
He doesn't give a fuck. I wouldn't trust being on that set. I know that it's all kind of staged there, but I wouldn't trust being near him.
No, not at all. I wouldn't want to be on set either. But yeah, that pretty much takes us. It's a hard out from this episode. We get right to credits after this, and it's a little bit of Rake getting assaulted some more, just some footage they left out, but that's basically it. That wraps up Viva La Bam season 2. And I kind of feel like I was expecting more like fireworks on the last episode, you know, just something bigger for the outro. But not to say the Destruction Derby wasn't cool, but you kind of almost want a send off or something. But just that's it. You're done.
It felt a little bit like, oh, that's it. Like, okay.
Yeah,
like
I find almost every season of Jackass and Viva La Bam ends like it's like you expect something. Like I guess we're used to the movies, right? So you get this big crescendo at the end, but. What can they really do? You know, it's still an episode. Then you get the next season coming up. So
yeah, which we will do eventually. But before we get into that, do you guys want to get into our MVPs and LVPs of this episode?
Yeah,
sure.
Baby.
All right. Jay, you want to start us off? You haven't started us off in a while.
Oh, I never thought you'd ask. Let's do it. MVP first. I already said it's the fucking salmon with the cigarette. But if I have to actually pick, you know, a living person, do you think Vito ate the salmon after? I have to ask this before we get it. Like, do you think he took it home?
He wouldn't let it go to waste.
He wouldn't let it go to waste.
He probably just put it in a hoagie sandwich and fucking went to town.
No, he also, when they looked back and they found that it was fucking there, they didn't stop the car or try to move it. They're like, shit, there's a fucking fish in the back of our car. God damn it. And they just keep driving all the way back to Castletown.
Okay. All right. I think I have a feeling, a hunch that Chris is going to want to pick this fella because I have my reasons and I'll tell you in a second, but it's Phil. I think Phil is the MVP. I don't know if you guys would agree, but the reason I'm saying that is because he had some moments that truly, really, it's like Chris said, there's the brotherly love thing happening here. And I didn't read into it as much, like I was aware of it going on. But then when I heard you talking about it just a few moments ago, it was like, yeah, you know what? Phil was kind of like the backbone to this whole episode, in that he was the voice of reason, but he was also egging things on and pushing the envelope further. So he was kind of like the devil on the shoulder, but also the angel at the same time. And I kind of like seeing him play both roles. And you saw a genuine care for his brother. And I think that actually humanizes Vito a little bit in a way, which is something I think he needs. So props to Phil for showing us that, hey, a guy might be kind of fucked up. He might make some mistakes in his life, but he's still your brother. And I don't know. You don't see that a lot from Phil in the show, so it was cool to see that genuine emotion there, I suppose.
I'll tack on to that and say Phil is absolutely my MVP on this one as well. He stole the show in a very quiet way. Like the way that like Littlefinger steals the show on Game of Thrones sometimes, where he's just like quietly in the background, like you said, like whispering little things like, what if you did this? Or like he's there. He's the one who kind of spurs on the, hey, Vito, no, I really think there's something stinky in your car. Did you shower? Yeah. All that stuff.
Promise
like he's got a lot of good moments.
Make a fart?
Yeah. You didn't promise you didn't make a fart is maybe the hardest I laughed in this whole season when he said that. So I agree. I love Phil in this episode.
Yeah, I'm going a little bit different. I'm going out of left field a little bit here because I'm going with the guy who owned that car dealership.
The MVP?
That's the MVP,
what?
Yeah.
Why?
Okay, I gotta hear why.
He fucking sold like 8 cars in once. It has to be a fucking Pennsylvania fucking state record.
That's a good point.
Secondly, he had not too many and not too less American flags. He had the perfect amount. You can never go wrong with American flags. And I really respected that as I'm a man for the people, you know? He took the time to kind of tidy up his desk. You know, maybe he was a little complacent about the Pepsi bottle that you could see, but you still need your drink. You know, when you're sitting there trying to talk to people, you need your throat to be lubricated so you could actually have proper conversation and get some deals done. And I'm a salesman, boys. And I respect nothing more than someone who could fucking sell some goddamn cars.
I like the idea of a remake of Glengarry Glen Ross where that guy plays Alec Baldwin. All right, I'll take it. I was gonna go LVP for him for the same reason, but I can't lie. When you said he sold like 8 cars in one day, I'm like, how is that guy a loser? He advertised his place for free, probably got paid to do it, and sold 8 cars.
And he probably owns the fish market across the street too somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, if I know one thing about sales, people always want a nice trout after they or some nice salmon after they buy a car.
Buy 10 cars, get a free salmon.
Yeah. Jay, what about your LVP?
I think my LVP, it's the duck from the petting zoo, because I can't shake the feeling that the reason they weren't in the episode more is because after those cars came over the hill, someone didn't hit the brakes fast enough, and that fucking duck is just red paste on the lawn somewhere.
Probably.
Rest in peace, buddy. Quack quack.
Quack quack indeed. Yeah, I could see that being the LVP. My LVP, I think, is going to be in this one. Man, I was gonna go with the owner of the dealership for Miami Motors, and I honestly, in my right mind, cannot choose that anymore. In fact, I'm like, you say you're a salesman, Chris, and you fucking sold me on that like hardcore. I can't lie. Argument. It was really good. I almost want to amend my Phil choice. You know what? The LVP is me for having thought that this guy was a fucking loser because he's a clear winner. This guy's the fucking man. And here I am with a podcast trying to make fun of the dude. He's running a successful business and making bank. God damn it. Yeah. I'm the LVP.
Wow.
Well, my LVP is Phil Margera.
What, Chris?
Really?
Now you're just doing this on purpose. All right, let's hear it.
You know what?
Let's hear it.
We talked about the brothers' redemption.
Yeah.
That was all fucking set up, Mikey. It's all about the brothers' betrayal. And this is the ultimate fucking betrayal. I want to bring you back up here so I can fucking put you back down into your fucking place. No real big brother's actually going to go and try and help his younger brother out. That's a fucking lame, pussy-ass move. He's the LVP because only a fucking loser would do that shit. Get back in your place, Reek.
Put it in right here. Edit it in right here. Brothers' betrayal. Put it in.
Fucking hell.
Put it in.
What do you want me to do? Where do you want me to stand this time, Chris?
In the corner where you're meant to be.
Okay.
Dude, that was such a good outro that I just want to, for the first time in history of this podcast, I just want to end it right here. I don't even want to drag it out or I don't want to do any of that bullshit. That was beautiful. Well done.
Yeah, that was, it was beautiful, Chris, and I love you and support you. I appreciate all the
Look what he's doing. You're playing into the stereotype now, man.
I'm not, it's not a stereotype. I'm just saying he's a lovely brother, and I hope one day, I don't think I've earned it yet.
If you keep working really hard, it can happen, Mikey, And
I believe that, Chris. I believe you to be true and fair and honest. I do, to my core, and I think I'll be able to claw back your respect. And you know what? At this point, if you gave it to me, I would be hurt because I know I didn't earn it.
That's
right.
See, now you're learning. Now you're starting to get to it, but not too much, Not learning too much. You still got a long way to go.
Are you going to cut my dick off again? Because I'd understand it if you had to. You gave it back to me, but
yeah, I mean, we'll just take off a couple stitchers and see if it falls off naturally.
Okay, that's fair. Let the Lord be the judge. Mm-hmm. See, he's a fair leader, right? Jay. It's what I told you about.
Yeah, Jesus take the wheel. Yeah, that's the fucking end of Viva La Bam. And
season 2.
I just gotta say though, Chris is a real Scrooge McDuck character right now, and I love it because I just picture this for a second. Chris is sitting behind his wooden table stacked with gold coins, and let's pretend each of those gold coins represents affection from Mikey. However, Chris has a quota, and this is monthly deadline. You have 30 days. You don't meet the quota, I'm sorry, kid, you're back out on the streets. And here, just Mikey coming in at 5 minutes to the stroke of midnight. He's got the last couple coins, and Chris counts them up, gives Mikey a stern look and says, sorry, kid, you're 1 coin short this month.
I'm so sorry, my sir.
Back out on the streets for you. Mikey had to he sold a kidney to get that last coin. It's sorry, you didn't make the cut, kid. Try again next month.
Yeah, I'll try again. And next time I'll come back stronger and better for it.
We'll see.
But, so, Jay, we talked about next week. We're most likely, we don't know for sure, but we may end up doing the Gumball Rally from season 3 of Jackass. We missed it last time, but it might be a good time to do that. We're probably going to do it over a 2-episode arc. And then we have some special news, which we'll announce in the coming weeks, of how we're going to ramp up to our 100th episode, which is just around the corner.
Holy shit, I can't believe it. And yeah, I'm glad we're doing the gumball thing because that means, folks, yes, everybody's favorite segment on the show will be back for 1 episode and 1 episode only. Well, I shouldn't say only, but for the time being, we're going to be rating the stunts again. And God, I was thinking about that the other day. Boys, I fucking miss so bad rating stunts. That's a cornerstone of our show, and we haven't done it for so long. So
I don't think there are stunts to rate in the Gumball Rally, though.
Oh, come on.
I think it's more of no.
It's like this. Unfortunately, I thought you were talking about once we're done with Gumball Rally and we go into the next thing, we'll start to have some to rate again.
The ratings will start coming back. But
on our 100th episode.
On our 100th episode.
I don't even want to do it now. Now we'll do it. It's fine. Okay, a little bit disappointing. I pumped you up for nothing, but yeah, Chris and Mikey are right. Eventually, we will be getting back to that. But seriously, I was having that thought the other day. It's dude, it's been forever since we've rated a fucking stunt. And speaking of which, Chris, go fucking find the spreadsheet and fill out the stunts you missed. There's 8 of them that you didn't even write down a rating for. I gotta get on your case about that.
Reek, you heard him. Can you get that done for me, please?
Yes, sir. I can't believe I forgot to do it up until now.
You only have to listen to 10 hours of footage to remember what I rated down. It's all good. I know you have time for it.
And it will be a pleasure to do so because I miss the sound of your voice when we're not recording.
I kind of like you, Mikey. Kind of like you.
Don't you dare say that. I haven't earned it yet. One day I will, and then we'll know that you do. But I know that you said that to catch me, and I won't accept that affection just yet.
See, you're getting wiser in your years.
You know what I will accept, though, is listeners, your love and support and your thoughts. Give us your brain at Jackast Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok if you want to check us out there, too. And we do have an email address, jackastpod@gmail.com. Seriously, contact us. Let us know what you're doing. Like, if we get anything that's, like, just ridiculously funny or interesting, or you have a good story, you know, or you just want to say something nice, which we hardly get enough of on this show, we'll read it. We'll read it. Maybe. No promises, but I mean, shit. You know what? I'll say this, guys. Listeners, sometimes you entertain me more than the content of this show. I love hearing from you. So please contact us at JackastPod.
And if you talk shit, don't be surprised if I come back at your little bitch ass, because I will fucking do that to you. And I'll diss your fucking mom and your family. I have no holds barred. I'm just saying. So yeah,
but some
do it if you like.
Pay big money, you know, money for that. People would pay, Chris. I mean, you're just giving it away for free. I mean, come on, doors open, people.
Fucking yeah. All content's good content, man. Fucking diss as much as comments as you want. The more those comments rack up, the more you're helping us win, you fucking losers.
Yeah, we've had TikToks go viral over how much you guys hate me. So.
Oh yeah, and with that, I think it's time for us to say goodbye. I just want to listen to that wheeze, that beautiful wheeze, for another couple seconds.
Oh, it was so genuine how you said that. It threw me right off because it literally is the case.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, we'll see you next week with the Gumball Rally. Until then, bye. I'm Jason Wellwood.
Bye. I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Bye. I'm Mikey Aaronworth, and this has been Jackass.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
Get into it.